Hello everyone, so this is my reading wrap up for January. I went through 6 books this month and that seems to be kind of what I average. It was a perfect month for reading. It was very cold, very snowy, perfect for bundling up in a blanket and getting a hot drink and reading a really good book. So yeah, I had a good reading month. So I will start with the first book that I read at the beginning of January, and this is Karen Slaughter, and this is Pretty Girls. So I have never actually read a Karen Slaughter before. I heard they were very intense and graphic, but I've heard very good things about this particular book, so I thought I would start with this one. And boy, this was very intense. Major trigger warnings. There is suicide, sexual assault, very graphic, intense sexual torture, very disturbing. So if you are major trigger warnings, stay away from this book. It's a very difficult read. This takes place in the present, and then it sort of goes into the past also. It's about this family, the mother, father, and they have 3 daughters. The oldest daughter's in college, and one night she's at a bar and she walks home and then she just disappears, and with no trace. So the parents end up divorcing. The 2 remaining sisters haven't spoken to each other for like 25 years. So in the present, the one daughter, she has married a very wealthy gentleman, and the other daughter is just kind of scraping by. So they live very different lives. So when the one who is married to a very wealthy gentleman, they go out for dinner, and he ends up getting murdered. And things after the funeral, things start popping out. Like the day of the funeral, things start popping up right away. That's something is just not right about the whole situation. And yeah, it's non-stop. There's like probably about close to 400 pages, and it just does not let up. There is twists and turns. Secrets keep popping up amongst the family, and things just keep coming out all the time about what's happened. The synopsis says there is a connection between the one daughter's disappearance and his murder. And you're thinking, well, how can that possibly be? But, I mean, all these different timelines come together, and just, it's just quite the book. So yeah, it is fast-paced. There's no let-up. It was actually, despite all the trigger warnings, it was a very well-written book. And yeah, if you can kind of get past that and tolerate a lot of some of these graphic scenes, it really was a very well done book. And it looks into family dynamics and secrets and how we can forgive each other. And yeah, it was just, I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then the next book I read, now I do have a Kindle Fire. That's a little cover I picked up, I think in Winners years and years ago. I really, my husband bought this Kindle Fire for me, and I honestly can't remember how old it is. It's old. It's probably like 15 years old or something like that, but it's still going. So the other book I read is by Cora Harrison. And this one is Eye of the Law. And this is the 4th or 5th book in the Lady Judge series by Cora Harrison. And this book, or these books, take place in 15th century Ireland, where they still had Brehon laws, which are the ancient laws. This particular woman, her father was a judge, and he would mete out the laws if there was a crime committed in that. And then she inherited his position by going to school and that. So she is an actual lady judge, and I believe the first book of the series is called Lady Judge by Cora Harrison. So this is like the 4th book in the series, and I absolutely love these books. I absolutely love the characters. They show up in each book, a lot of the characters, and you get you kind of get pretty fond and attached to these characters. It's always a very good murder mystery. She's extremely intelligent and likable, the protagonist. So yeah, I just absolutely love these books. And I won't go too much into the plot, but they're just, if you do love historical novels and mysteries and, you know, books that takes place in Ireland, these Cora Harrison books are really, really good. And just start with The Lady Judge. That was the first book in the series. So yeah, I just absolutely love those books. And then the next book I read was The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. And this is, I don't know if they consider this young adult or not, but of course it takes place in a library, so that's why I was kind of drawn to it. It was okay. These people are librarians, and they look after these books, and there's different parallel universes. So there's this one, there's present day London, and if you go to a parallel universe, it's London, like a steampunk kind of London, so it's an alternative. So there's all these alternative universes, and they go to each of these parallel universes, and they pick out these books that they want to collect. And it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I don't think I would continue the series, though. It really was quite interesting when you went into the parallel London. It was interesting to read about. The mystery was okay. I don't know, it just really didn't grab me too much. You know, some people absolutely love it. It was okay for me. I just wouldn't continue the series myself. Alrighty, and then the next one is The Glass Woman by Carolyn Leah. And what was that other one I read? This takes place in Iceland, and it was Hannah Kent, that's the one. Just seeing if I can see where I put it, but I don't. There's a Hannah Kent one that took place in Ireland too, and it was really, really good. This is The Glass Woman. And I tell you, right off the bat, I know I can give this a 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. So this woman, her father ends up passing away, and she and her mother are left, and they're not doing well. There's no way for them to earn a living, and she ends up marrying this gentleman from this other village, who's got a very good reputation as being a hard worker and a very somewhat wealthy man. So he takes an interest in her, and she just feels like he'll take care of my mom, so I should just go ahead and marry him. I don't have any choice in the matter. But anyway, she ends up marrying him and going to this village, and the people in the village aren't very friendly to him or her husband, and it was so good. Oh, just a second. Frank's yelling at. Okay, sorry. So she didn't really act very friendly to her husband, even though her husband, I think, treated her quite well. But she was always very nervous and skittish around her husband and that. And that's the only part of the story I didn't like, because he seemed like a nice guy. He seemed to be treating her okay. But anyway, that's the only part of the story I didn't really like too much. But his previous wife did pass away under kind of suspicious circumstances, so she's always kind of wondering, like, what happened to her. And her husband tells her not to go into the loft, but she keeps hearing all these noises in the loft and that. So it's a very sad, kind of depressing story, but I just could not stop turning the pages. It's kind of how people, especially back then, just kept secrets about their lives because they didn't want people turning against them and the consequences of keeping these secrets. So I just give this a 5 out of 5. I absolutely love this. And I think I picked this up on Book Outlet for like, I think they had this on sale for like $2 or something like that. But man, it's worth every penny. And it's just so atmospheric. I did visit Iceland a few years ago and I just absolutely loved it. It's very atmospheric. It takes place in the winter, so it was perfect for reading in January. But yeah, so good. And this is Preston and Child. This is Bloodless. And now, this is probably the 20th book featuring this FBI agent called Aloysius Pendergast. I think it's the 19th one or something like that. I absolutely love his character. Probably one of my favorite characters in fiction is this FBI agent. So this one takes place in, I think, North Carolina or South Carolina. No, it's not. Savannah, Georgia. I don't know what I was thinking. It takes place in Savannah, Georgia. These people are found, and they're found with the blood drained, like, completely out of them. And they figure out that they weren't murdered at the spot they were found. They were murdered somewhere else. And yeah, it goes supernatural. Now, a lot of their stories do go a little bit paranormal, supernatural. So that wasn't a big surprise for me. It is such a fun read, these books, that I don't care if it goes in one of those unbelievable kind of realms. I don't care, because these are just such a fun read, and I absolutely love that character. So these are not really standalone. I would say I would definitely start at the beginning of the series. I know there's many books. I think the first book was Relic, or the Reliquary. I just can't quite remember. I think it was maybe The Relic was the first book of the series. But I mean, I've been reading those for years. Preston and Child, they're separate authors, and they've written separate books, but most of their books they have actually written together. So I just love their books. And this is by Sherry Lapina, an unwanted guest. This is a isolated thriller. Now, I did read One by One, I think, by Ruth Ware, which was just meh for me. The Agatha Christie novel, Then There Were None, that was a really good isolated thriller where people just start dying one by one and you're not sure who's killing everyone. So this is in that kind of Agatha Christie, Then They Were None kind of vein. So this takes place in the Catskills in New York. So a group of people make their way through a snowstorm to get to this isolated hotel or inn in the woods. And they're all very different types of people from different walks of life. Now, I found that with Ruth Ware, their isolated thrillers, I just do not like any of the characters. But this one, some of the characters I really did like. So one night, this woman falls down the stairs during the night, and everyone thinks it's an accident, but then someone else gets killed, and then they think, oh, what's going on? There is an ice storm, so there is no way for them to leave. They're hoping that the roads would get cleared so the police can come. But yeah, I actually really did enjoy this one. It did leave me guessing, and there's a few times I did guess the right person, but then I would change my mind. So I was kind of going back and forth quite a bit. But yeah, I really did enjoy this isolated thriller. I thought it was very well done, and a little more realistic than some of the other ones that I've read, but I really did enjoy that one. So that was it. And then right now, I'm about, should finish it today. This is A Snow Child by Ewan Ivy, I think it's how you pronounce her name. I did pick this up for $3 at the book thrift store. And oh man, I'm loving this one. This is definitely a 5 out of 5 read for me. Well, I'd probably give Unwanted Guest, I would probably give that like a 4 out of 5, I would say. This one's definitely a 5 out of 5 read for me. I just can't stop turning the pages on this. It takes place in Alaska in 1920, and this couple has moved there. They don't have any children. They lost their one child with a stillbirth, and so they decided, especially the woman, just wanted to get away from everyone. She didn't want to have to deal with other people, etc. So they went to Alaska. And one night during a snowstorm, they make this little snowman, and the next morning it's disappeared. And then the next day they keep seeing this little girl run in and out of the woods and that sort of thing. I'm just really enjoying it. It's so atmospheric. Most of the time it takes place in the winter time, and yeah, it's just, I love the characters, especially this one woman, their neighbor Esther. She's my spirit animal. I just love Esther. I love the characters. They have so many ups and downs, like everyone in life, and how they cope with things. It's just such a good book. So good. So that is what I'm going to be finishing up today. And that's it. So that's my January reading. And yeah, let me know if you've read any good books this month. So I hope you enjoyed. Everyone take care. Give your loved ones a hug and kiss, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.